So let's start our interpreting session from English into bahasa.
Thank you.
Terima kasih.
I'm honored to be with you
Saya
today for your
merasa terhormat
commencement
bisa
from one of the
bersama
finest
kalian
universities in the
di
world.
salah satu universitas terbaik di dalam dunia.
Truth be told,
Perlu diketahui,
I never graduated from
saya tidak
college,
pernah lulus dari
and
kuliah.
this is the closest I've ever gotten to
Hari
a
inilah
college
terdekat
graduation.
saya bahwa saya pernah lulus kuliah.
Today,
Hari
I want to
ini
tell you 3 stories
saya
from
ingin
my life.
menceritakan 3 cerita
That's
dari
it.
hidup saya.
No big deal.
Bukan
Just
masalah
3
besar,
stories.
hanya 3 cerita.
The first story is
Cerita
about
pertama
connecting
saya
the dots.
tentang menghubungkan.
I dropped out of Reed College after the
Aku
first 6
keluar
months,
dari Reed
but then
College
stayed around as a drop-in
setelah
for
6
another
bulan,
18 months or so before
setelah
I really
18
quit.
bulan lebih sebelum saya benar-benar
So why did I
berhenti.
drop out?
Jadi mengapa saya berhenti?
It started before I was
Ini
born.
dimulai sebelum saya lahir.
My biological
Ibu
mother
kandung saya masih
was a
muda.
young, unwed graduate student, and she
Tanpa
decided to put me up for adoption.
dia memutuskan dan
She
menempatkan saya
felt
untuk
very
diadopsi.
strongly that I should be adopted by
Dia
college
sangat yakin
graduates.
bahwa saya harus
So everything was
diadopsi
all
oleh
set
lulusan perguruan
for me to be adopted at birth by a lawyer and his
tetapkan
wife.
agar saya diadopsi dan lahir
Except
oleh
that when
seorang
I popped
pengacara dan
out, they decided at the last minute
kecuali
that they
ketika
really
saya
wanted a
muncul
girl.
pada menit terakhir mereka
So
menginginkan
my
seorang gadis.
parents, who were on a waiting list, got a call in the middle of the night
Jadi orang tua
asking,
saya yang ada daftar tunggu
"We've got an
menelpon
unexpected
malah
baby
menanyakan,
boy. Do you want him?"
kamu memiliki bayi
They said,
laki-laki yang tak
"Of
terduga.
course."
Apakah kamu masih menginginkan dia?
My biological
Sama
mother
kata.
found out later that my
Ibu
mother
kandung
had
saya
never
kemudian
graduated from
mengetahui hal
college
itu,
and that my father had never
tidak lulus
graduated from
kuliah
high
dan
school.
saya tidak pernah lulus
She
SMA.
refused to sign the final adoption
Dia menolak
papers.
untuk menandatangani surat-surat
She
adopsi.
only relented a few months later when
Dia
my
baru
parents
mengalah beberapa bulan
promised
kemudian.
that I would go to college.
Orang tua saya berjanji bahwa
This
suatu
was the start
hari nanti akan
in my
pergi
life.
ke perguruan tinggi.
And 17 years later, I
Dan
did go
17
to
tahun
college.
kemudian saya
But I
kuliah.
naively chose a college
Tapi
that
dengan
was
naif,
almost as expensive as
Saya
Stanford.
memilih perguruan tinggi yang sangat
And
mahal di
all of my
Stanford.
working class parents' savings
Semua
were being
kelas
spent on
kerja
my
saya,
college
tabungan
tuition.
orang tua saya dihabiskan
After
untuk bayar
6
kuliah
months,
saya.
I couldn't see the value in
Setelah
it.
6 bulan,
I
saya
had
tidak
no
melihat
idea what
nilai
I
di
wanted to do
dalam.
with my life,
Saya tidak tahu
and
apa
no
yang saya
idea how
inginkan
college
dengan
was
hidup
going to
saya
help me
dan
figure
tidak
it
tahu
out.
bagaimana kuliah.
And here I was, spending all the money
Dan
my parents
disinilah
had
saya
saved their
menghabiskan
entire
semua
life.
uang saya, orang tua saya menyelamatkan seluruh
So I
hidup mereka.
decided to drop out
Jadi saya
and
memutuskan
trust that it
untuk
would
keluar
all work
dan
out
percaya itu
okay.
semua akan baik-baik saja.
It was pretty scary at the time, but
Ini
looking
sangat
back,
menakutkan pada
it was
saat
one of
itu,
the best decisions
tapi
I ever
melihat
made.
kembali bahwa itu adalah keputusan terbaik yang
The
pernah
minute I
saya lakukan.
dropped out, I could stop taking
Saya
the
keluar,
required
saya berhenti
classes that
minum,
didn't interest me
kelas
and
wajib tidak
begin
menarik,
dropping in on the ones that
dan
looked far more
mulai mampir
interesting.
pada yang
It
hal-hal
wasn't
yang
all
menarik.
romantic. I didn't have a
Tidak semua
dorm room,
romantis.
so I slept on the floor in friends'
Saya tidak
rooms.
punya kamar asrama,
I
jadi saya
returned
tidur
Coke
di lantai
bottles for the
kamar
5-cent
teman.
deposits to buy food with.
Saya
And I would
membeli
walk the 7
Coca-Cola
miles
harga
across
5
town
sen
every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple.
dan hanya
loved
memakan
it.
makanan yang ringan.
And much of what I stumbled
Seminggu
into
sekali
by
saya bisa
following my
memakai.
curiosity and intuition
Dan
turned
banyak
out
hal
to
yang
be
membuat saya
priceless later
tersandung dan
on.
mengikuti keinginan
Let me
dari
give you
saya.
one example. Reed College at that time offered perhaps the
Reed
best
College pada
calligraphy
saat itu
instruction
mungkin
in the
menawarkan
country.
instruksi
Throughout
kaligrafi
the
terbaik di
campus,
negara ini.
every poster, every
Tapi
label on every
seluruh
drawer
kampus,
was
setiap poster,
beautifully hand
setiap
calligraphed.
label adalah
Because I
tangan
had dropped out and didn't have to take the
karena saya
normal
putus dari
classes,
sekolah dan tidak
I
punya
decided to take a
untuk kembali
calligraphy
ke
class to
normal.
learn
Saya
how to do
memutuskan
this.
untuk kembali ke kelas
I learned about
kaligrafi,
serif and
mempelajari
sans serif
bagaimana melakukan
typefaces, about varying the amount of space
mempelajari
between different letter
typografi, serif
combinations,
dan serif,
about what makes great
variasikan ruang di
typography
antara
great. It was beautiful,
kombinasi huruf yang
historical,
berbeda dan sangat-sangat
artistically subtle
itu
in a way
indah,
that science
historistik,
can't
artistik,
capture,
dan halus.
and I found it fascinating. None of this had even a hope of
Tak
any
satu pun
practical
dari ini bahkan
application
memiliki
in my
harapan
life.
praktis.
But
untuk
10 years
mengaplikasikan
later,
dalam hidup
when we
saya.
were designing the first
10 tahun
Macintosh
kemudian,
computer,
saat kami
it all
mendesain
came
komputer
back to me.
Macintosh
And we
pertama,
designed it all
semuanya
into
datang
the
kembali
Mac.
pada
It was the
dan
first
kami
computer with
merancang
beautiful typography.
semuanya ke dalam Mac.
If
Itu
I
adalah
had never
komputer pertama
dropped
dengan
in on that
tipografi
single
yang
course in
indah.
college,
Jika
the
saya
Mac
tidak
would have
pernah
never had
mampir
multiple typefaces or
di
proportionally
jalur
spaced
tunggal
fonts.
itu, di perguruan
And
tinggi
since
tidak akan
Windows
pernah
just
memiliki
copied the
banyak
Mac,
tipografi,
it's
font
likely that
dengan
no
spasial.
personal computer would have them.
Dan karena Windows baru saja menyalin itu, kemungkinan besar tidak ada komputer pribadi.
If I had never dropped out,
Jika saya
I
tidak
would have
pernah
never
putus
dropped
sekolah,
in on that
saya
calligraphy
tidak akan
class,
pernah
and
merasakan
personal
kelas
computers
kaligrafi
might not
itu.
have the wonderful
Komputer
typography that they
pribadi
do.
mungkin tidak memiliki
Of course, it was
tipografi yang
impossible to
indah.
connect the dots looking forward when I was in
Tentu saja
college,
itu
but it
tidak
was very,
mungkin
very
untuk
clear
menemukan
looking
titik
backwards
melihat
10
ke
years
depan
later.
jika saya masih kuliah.
Again, you can't connect the dots looking
Sekali
forward.
lagi, kau
You
tidak
can
akan
only
pernah
connect
melihat.
them looking backwards.
Kau hanya
So
mungkin
you have
melihat
to trust
hal
that the
yang
dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something,
Kau harus
your
percaya
gut,
pada
destiny,
suatu hal,
life, karma, whatever.
melalui Anda,
Because
takdir
believing
hidup,
that the
karma,
dots will
apa.
connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path.
Pendekatan ini
And
tidak
that
pernah
will make
menyebabkan
all the
saya,
difference.
dan itu telah membuat semua perbedaan dalam hidup saya.
My second story
Cerita kedua saya
is about love and
tentang
loss.
cinta dan kehilangan.
I was lucky.
Saya beruntung
I found what I love to do
menemukan apa yang
early
saya
in
suka
life.
lakukan dalam kehidupan.
Roz and I started Apple in my
Bos
parents'
dan
garage
saya
when I was
memulai
20.
Apple di garasi.
We worked hard, and in
Ketika
10
saya
years,
berumur 20
Apple had grown from just the two
Kami
of us in a
bekerja keras
garage
dalam 10 tahun
into a $2 billion
untuk
company with
mengembangkan
over
Apple
4,000 employees.
dengan perusahaan
We just
2
released
miliar
our
yang
finest
lebih dari
creation, the
4.000
Macintosh,
karyawan.
a year earlier, and I just
Kami
turned
baru
30.
saja merilis kelas kreasi terbaik
And then I got
kami,
fired.
The Macintosh, tahun sebelumnya.
How can you get fired from a company you started?
Dan kemudian saya dipecat. Bagaimana Anda bisa dipecat dari perusahaan yang Anda dirikan? Nah, seiring bertumbuhnya Apple, kami memperkerjakan seorang yang berpikir sangat berbakat menjalankan perusahaan dengan saya untuk tahun pertama dan baik. Tapi kemudian visi-misi kami tentang masa depan mulai menyimpang. Akhirnya kami bertengkar.
And so at 30, I was out.
Jadi pada saat
And
umur
very
30 saya
publicly
keluar dan
What had
sangat
been the focus of my entire adult life
apa
was
yang menjadi
gone,
fokus
and it
seluruh
was
orang dewasa
devastating.
saya hidup hilang
I
dan
really didn't know what to do for a few months.
saya benar-benar tidak tahu harus melakukan
I
apa
felt that I
saat
had
itu.
let the previous generation of entrepreneurs
Saya
down,
merasakan
that I
membiarkan
had dropped
generasi
the
sebelumnya
baton as it was
pengusaha
being
turun,
passed to me.
pengusaha yang sangat
I
turun.
met with David Packard and Bob Noyce
Saya bertemu
and
dengan
tried to
David Packard,
apologize for
Bob
screwing up so badly.
Noyce, dan mencoba untuk minta
I was
maaf.
a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the valley.
Saya adalah orang
But
yang sangat
something
gagal.
slowly began
Saya
to
bahkan
dawn on me.
berpikir untuk melarikan
I
diri dari
still
Lo.
loved what I did.
Tapi sesuatu telah
The
menyadarkan
turn of
aku
events at
masih
Apple had
menyukai
not changed that one bit.
pergantian
I'd been
di
rejected,
acara Apple tidak
but I
berubah.
was still in love. And so I decided to start over.
Jadi saya memulai,
I
saya
didn't see
memutuskan
it
untuk mulai
then,
kembali.
but it turned out that
Saya
getting
tidak melihat
fired from
saat
Apple was the best thing that could have
Tapi
ever
ternyata
happened to me.
hal yang terbaik
The heaviness of
bahwa
being
saya
successful
dipecat dari
was
Apple adalah
replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again,
beban
less
berat
sure
hidup
about
sukses
everything.
diganti dengan
It freed me to
ringan
enter one of
menjadi
the most creative
pemula
periods of
lagi.
my life. During the next 5 years, I started a company named Next,
Selama
another
5 tahun
company named
berikutnya, saya
Pixar,
membuat
and
perusahaan
fell in love
bernama
with an
Next,
amazing
perusahaan
woman who would
bernama
become my
Pixar,
wife.
dan jatuh
Pixar
cinta
went
dengan
on to create the
wanita
world's
luar
first
biasa yang
computer
menjadi
animated
istriku.
feature film, Toy Story,
Pixar melanjutkan
and is now the most
ciptaan
successful
pertama
animation
dirinya,
studio in the world.
fitur film animasi Toy Story, dan sekarang
In a
menjadi studio
remarkable turn
animasi
of
paling
events,
sukses di dunia.
Apple bought Next, and I returned
Lalu,
to Apple,
Apple membeli
and the
Next, dan
technology
saya
we
kembali ke
developed at
Apple,
Next is
dan
at the heart of
teknologinya
Apple's current
yang
renaissance.
kami kembangkan Next
And Marina
adalah
and
inti
I
dari Apple yang
have a
kita
wonderful
kembangkan.
family together.
Dan Lawrence
I'm pretty
adalah
sure
keluarga yang
none of this would have
paling
happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple.
Saya
It was
cukup
awful
yakin
tasting
semua ini akan
medicine,
berhasil,
but I
jadi
guess the
saya
patient
tidak
needed
dipecat
it.
dari Apple. Rasanya obat yang enak, tapi kurasa kemudian
My third story is about death.
cerita ketiga saya
When I was
adalah
17, I read a quote that went something like, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right." It made an impression on me, and since then, for the past 33
dan
years,
sejak saat
I
itu
looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away
hal
in
ini
the face
pergi
of death,
begitu saja menghadapi
leaving only what is truly important.
meninggalkan suatu hal yang sangat
Remembering that you are going to die
mengingatkan
is
bahwa
the best way
kau
I
akan
know
mati
to
adalah hal
avoid the
yang
trap of
yang
thinking
kita
you
tahu.
have something to
Untuk
lose.
menghilangkan
You are
jauhan dari
already
hal yang
naked.
kita tinggalkan.
There is no reason
Kau
not
sangat
to follow your heart.
terbuka, tak ada alasan untuk
About a
menutup
year
hati.
ago, I was diagnosed with cancer.
1 tahun kemudian saya
I had a
didiagnosakan
scan at
kanker.
7:30 in the morning,
Saya
and it
melakukan
clearly
scan pada
showed a
7
tumor
pagi,
on my pancreas.
dan ini
I
adalah
didn't even know
tumor
what a pancreas
pankreas.
was.
tidak
The
tahu bahwa
doctors
apa
told
itu.
me this was almost
Dan
certainly a
dokter
type of
memberitahukan
cancer
bahwa
that is incurable,
cancer
and that
ini
I should
sangat
expect to live
incurable.
no longer than 3 to
Dan
6
aku
months.
tidak memiliki lagi.
My doctor advised me to go home
Dan
and get
dokter
my affairs
menyarankan
in
untuk
order,
pergi ke rumah dan
which is
mengambil hal
doctor's
yang lain.
code for prepare to die. It means to try and tell your kids everything. You thought you'd have the next 10
Kau
years
kira
to tell
kau
them.
memiliki 10 tahun
just a few
lagi,
months.
tapi bahwa
It means
setidaknya
to make sure
cuma
everything
2
is
bulan.
buttoned up so that it will be as easy as possible for your family. It means to say your goodbyes. I lived with that diagnosis all day. Later that evening, I had a biopsy where they stuck an endoscope down my throat, through my stomach and into my intestines, put a needle into my pancreas and got a few cells from the tumor.
Okay, let's start again.
I was sedated, but my wife, who was there, told me
Saya
that when they
dibius,
viewed the
saya
cells
ada
under a
di sana,
microscope, the
mengatakan
doctor
kepada saya
started
bahwa
crying
ketika
because
mereka
it turned out to be a
bahwa
very rare form of pancreatic cancer that is
dokter mulai
curable with
menangis karena
surgery.
ternyata adalah bentuk
I
pankreas
had
yang
the
sangat
surgery,
langka.
and thankfully, I'm fine now.
Saya menjalani operasi dan beruntungnya saya baik-baik saja sekarang.
This was the closest I've been to facing
Ini
death,
adalah hal
and I
terdekat
hope it's the
yang
closest
pernah
I
saya
get
hadapi
for a few
dalam
more
kematian.
decades.
Saya berharap saat
Having
itu
lived
paling
through it,
dekat dan saya
I can
dapatkan
now
selama
say this
beberapa
to you
dekade
with a
lagi.
bit more certainty than when death was a useful but purely intellectual concept.
Setelah menjalankannya, saya sekarang
No
mendapatkan
one
bahwa
wants to die.
kematian berguna.
Even people who
tetapi
want to go to
murni
heaven
Tuhan.
don't want to die to get there.
Bahkan
And yet,
orang tak ingin masuk
death
surga
is the
pun tidak ingin
destination
mati
we all
untuk
share.
kebaikan.
No one has ever
Namun
escaped it.
kematian adalah
And
tujuan
that is as
akhir
it
bagi
should
kita
be,
semua. Tak ada yang
because
bisa
death is
tidak
very
lolos.
likely the single best
Dan
invention
memang
of
harusnya
life.
begitu. Karena kematian
It's life's
sangat
change agent. It clears out
mungkin
the old to
satu-satunya
make way
penemuan
for the
terbaik
new.
dalam kehidupan.
Right now, the new
Itu
is you.
adalah agen perubahan
But
hidup.
someday, not too long from now, you will
suatu
gradually
hari,
become the old and be
kau akan
cleared away.
Pergi,
Sorry to be so dramatic, but it's
kau
quite
sangat
true.
dramatik, tapi ini
Your
sangat
time is
biasa.
limited, so
Waktumu
don't
sangat
waste it
terbatas,
living
jadi
someone
jangan
else's life.
buang-buang ini untuk menunggu
Don't be
orang lain.
trapped by dogma,
Jangan
which is
terperangkap
living with
oleh
the results of
dogma,
other
hanya
people's
hidup
thinking.
dalam
Don't
pikiran
let the
orang-orang.
noise of others' opinions drown out your
Jangan
own inner
biarkan
voice.
suara orang lain
And
menghapus
most
suaramu.
important, have the
Dan yang
courage to
paling
follow
penting,
your heart and intuition.
kau harus
They
memiliki
somehow
dan
already
mengikuti
know
intuisi dari hati.
what you truly want to
Yang mana
become.
mungkin itu adalah menjadi
Everything
hal yang sangat
else is
terbaik
secondary.
untuk dirimu. Karena segalanya adalah hal
When I was young, there was an
Saat saya
amazing
masih muda,
publication called the
ada
Whole
publikasi
Earth
yang luar
Catalog,
biasa,
which was
disebut
one of the
dengan
Bibles
The
of
Whole
my
Earth
generation.
Salah
It was
satu
created
Alkitab
by a
dari
fellow
generasi
named
saya.
Stuart Brand, not
Itu
far from
dibuat
here
oleh
in Menlo
seorang
Park,
rekan bernama
and he
Stuart
brought it to
Brand.
life with his poetic touch. This
Tidak
was in
jauh
the
dari
late
Menlo Park
60s,
yang
before
membawanya.
personal computers and desktop publishing, so it
Ini
was all
terjadi ketika
made with
1960
typewriters,
sebelum personal
scissors, and
komputer dan
Polaroid
penerbitan
cameras.
teleskop itu.
It was sort of like Google in paperback form 35 years before Google came along.
Saat
It was idealistic,
Google mulai merilis
overflowing with
kamera
neat tools and
Polaroidnya
great notions.
35 tahun sebelum
Stuart
Google
and his team
muncul.
put out several issues of the Whole Earth Catalog, and then, when it had run its course, they put out a final issue. It was the mid-1970s.
Well, it's been 15 minutes, and I'm sorry because interpreting session from English to Indonesia, I still have a really failure, really big mistakes than my previously video. So I hope I can improve at next time. So thank you for watching my video. Once again, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.